Good evening everybody, Wilco van Bokstel here, TradeReact, TradeReact.com. New energy on the Dukascopy Community. Welcome for another weekly review. Hope you all had a great weekend. We're going to highlight the 11th till the 15th of April 2016. Gonna look at some forex pairs and gold, oil and S&P 500. So let's get into it. Trading disclaimer: trading is full of risk. Forex, manage your trades, your size. You can pause and read this. Now let's go to the screen and put me on there. So hello everybody. Let's have a look at the calendar soon. I will first show introduction. It's me here, TradeReact.com on Facebook. If you want trading updates, webinar announcements and trading news. You can find me New Energy on Twitter for private and trading updates. We can connect professionally, Wilco van Bokstel on LinkedIn. You can always find me here on the Dukascopy TV on the schedule on the right. Find New Energy. I'm gonna book my webinars for the coming week soon, so check that out. I'm also here on the community, New Energy, where I had a great week last week with 200k in profit on about 2 trades, so that was really good. You can review my stats here, show the 6 months and the monthly. You see a nice curve, so that was well managed. Standings, I shot up from low to place 20 of the month. In 6 months we're up towards 59th place, and yearly we are going strong, 47. So check that out if you like. Connect with me, send a quick message, and that would be nice to meet you all, meet new people. I see my cam is giving a bit of background scatter. Can try to get rid of that just a bit, because it's evening here, it's darker, so it's harder to filter me out, but no, it's okay, I see. So yeah, let's go to the calendar. Monday, dollar news, Fed announcement. Not much for the rest. Some China news can be of impact, although it's medium. Tuesday, the pound, CPI. So we're gonna look at pound pairs once again. There was some bad news last week, so let's see what brings this week for the pound. So that will be the beginning of the week, Monday, Tuesday, mid of the week. We get China news, dollar news, the retail sales, core retail sales, PPI, the Canada news, Bank of Canada, monetary policy report, rate statements. Okay, so I'm gonna do some pound pairs, dollar CAD, crude oil, we'll highlight Thursday, the Aussie, more pound news. So it's a busy pound week, you see that? Get pound news on Thursday and on Wednesday. No, on Tuesday, sorry. So that is gonna be interesting for Brexit strategies, etc. Core CPI, unemployment claims. Friday, China news, industrial production. Gonna be interesting how the production is going in China. Canada news, and then ending out late with consumer sentiment. Check the calendar again, 11 to 15. Good. So start with the pound pair. Pound Aussie I got here. Pound US dollar. No, I wanted to select the pound Kiwi. I'm still looking to sell the pound pairs this week, depending on the news outcome of course, but when I see this technical chart of the daily, we are still in a good downtrend here, making lower highs, lower lows, although it was a slight one here. It's still down. It closed below the weekly pivot. So let's look for continuation to sell, because we had a bounce already. And now I think it's making its new move lower. So we'll have to check that out. It's the best to see here on the pound Aussie, so let's take that for this video. If you got anything not highlighted in this weekly update, come join my free webinars on Dukascopy for some more insights or to post your questions, and I will gladly look into those. Let's do this review on the pound Aussie. What we see here on the daily, a move down, a strong rebound, and doji retest on the resistance area, drop off and a retest, and I believe it will drop off further now. If the week stays above the weekly pivot, like on Monday, it's likely we see continuation to the upside on Tuesday, but as I favor the downside, I look on the lower time frames on that risk and profitable area to the downside. Let's check out some FIPs. Let's draw here the last one. This has been completed. Also in the daily, we get into some congestion area from 2014, but that's okay. You see a bit of a bottom range here, 2010, 11, 12, 13. We're now on the top of that zone. Move it down into this target. This move that has completed. So looking from this perspective, it touched the 38 just slightly and it ran into the target of the 618. So FIP wise, we might see some bounce, so above the weekly pivot. But trend wise we're down, so I'm keeping an eye on both, of course. 8 hour, let's draw in some FIPs here. You can draw it like this, see a retest of the 50 and the target hit. Oh, barely. So we have this move and the second move. See, this move has got its target here. You see it? I move it because it comes together with the pivot, so you don't see it well. That has been hit, and now the second move here is also kind of complete. So in the FIP area we might see a bounce, but I needed to close firmly here above the weekly new pivot to see retracement up into 192-ish R2. But if it closes begin the week below the pivot, I think we're continuing down. So you see here there's a bit of indecision. candles, and that's because of the completion of both of those fifth target levels. Swings below, back up, so we can do some ranging action. Keep an eye on that for now on the pound Aussie until we get a new leg to measure. I'm watching the pivot and the lows. Alright, switch back. That was a pound pair. Let's do the dollar CAD now. Dollar CAD, where are you? Dollar CAD, here. The market is not yet open. I think it will open in about 1 hour forward. I think 1 hour 20 or so. So I hope post this video before that happens, before the market opens. Dollar CAD been moving down. I erased all indicators or all drawed lines from last week, all fibs. So I'm starting fresh. That's why we have to look at the targets new. I'm looking a bit, I'm checking if I like that, start fresh, because I had some great lines, as you saw last week, drawn on my charts. And I have to reanalyze all now. So I think next week I will try to keep all the lines on the charts and then continue and just cleaning up what I don't like. But for now I took my charts clean again and reanalyze everything. The dollar CAD came down, bit of some monthly support, weekly, still firmly moving down, bit oversold. Just to look at those levels, because it's been a while since 2009 highs we are now. So let's see if that brings support also here from September 2015. We can draw on a line there. Zoom back in. See, that's an important level. If we want further downside, we need to break that. But this is the weekly, so let's zoom into the daily. It's a bit of a ranging action, I think. Let's look at some fibs. This move down, for example, below the 200 on the daily. We see it has retraced up almost into the light blue line, 133-ish, and completed almost here on the 128.50. So till it breaks out of any of those boundaries, up or down, and also below this monthly support line around 128.50, we're in a ranging action after this down move. The trend is down, preferably sells here. That's why you see a rejection above this weekly pivot and a close below it. So we might first go for a retest of the lows of 128.50 and perhaps moves lower, but we all have to check after that. 8 hours, let's scale up a bit. Two hours. I'll zoom out a bit. So what can we draw on there? Let's draw them still bearish. Check some last moves of last week. This was completed nicely, tested the 618 and got to the 618. This one tested the blue lines and got below it. Also into an area here of mixed support and resistance. This is interesting. So if we measure all this drop down, and oops, sorry, from here, we can look for some possible bounces, but if it will not happen, often what then happens is this trend band coming in place and continuing here to the 2800, 128.15, but as the monthly support comes in first, 28.50, we'll look at that. So keep an eye on the short-term scale. If we get a retracement back, I prefer to sell it, so around 130.09, 131, still sell it down into the 128.50, perhaps even lower. Of course, as usual, if this fails, it's in the daily ranging area at the moment, then things will shift, but I will review that in my webinars. All right. More pound pairs. It's a pound pairs again week, and dollar CAD pairs. Of course, there are other pairs to look at. But let's review now oil, gold and S&P, and then round it up, because else the video will become too long. I'm in now 16 minutes, so that's nice timing for those other pairs. Light crude, monthly, just to give an overview. We're close below this 2009 lows. Did we? Yes, we did. As you can see, it was a spike and a reverse, so it was a pretty aggressive move, I must say. Let's make it thicker. So officially we're still above it. Why? Because we have here the monthly, and the open and close prices are above that support around 33. And those were spike lows of 2009. So I think what we can look at is the close prices of here. The close prices of 2009 is the same scenario now, because it's now in this band. 41.60 is now kind of resistance because of that. It has been support here in, what is it, March 1st, and now it's coming back in. So if this 41.60 fails on light crude, intraday basis, I'll look for structure around that area for a possible sell into the range again, the 33s or lower, because I think when it goes back above it, we might see a deeper retracement. We got some great big FIB moves going, of course. This was kind of a drop. Let's get our FIB levels out. And it didn't reach that target yet. You see it touched the 50% around 40, 50. Just exact the 50 level, 0.1. And it now has a target here up 22.350. So, yep, that's the longer term. Daily, we are in a bit of a retracement. So we can measure that up move. Looking a bit what to measure at this point. 8 hours seem to be more logical. From this, let's measure this reversal pattern. Touch the 50 here, closed on the 618 here, and moved all the way back up here. Measuring that move, oops, sorry. We touched the 38-ish here and also the 50. So it's a bit hesitating, a bit ranging. This fib still seems valid. We can get a run into the 618. It barely touched it and it retraced. So for me now it's still ranging between those areas of the 42 and 33. Interesting. It completed in a kind of sense, so we can measure now, but it broke this low again, so that makes it still ranging. We could look at this last move for a possible target to the upside is 45. But as I said, it's ranging, so there's this down move also going on. And this way you can figure out how to be positioned. See, this one completed to the downside and it went back up. Retraced to the 50 level. Extended here, the 618. Of the whole down move, it's around the 618, so we might see a dip lower. If we target to the downside this last move and it rejects here, closed above the 618, but if it rejects and perhaps goes here into the blue area around the 40 level, we can look for prices around 33s again. So beginning this week, what's important, look at the 40 level, 41. If we see there stalling price action, we can look for the 33s. If it just goes strong on momentum, we just continue up to the 45. So there you get your bullish statement and your bearish statement for the coming week. On the light crude, hope that helps. Let's go on to gold. We got this here. Weekly. This weekly gold touched the 200 MA. Rejected, but it's more like ranging now than rejecting. Kind of like this price action, but a bit above it. So I'm curious. I'm watching more ranging action now and a possible break to the upside, or look for rejection to the high. So purely ranging actions. It has retraced now the last bearish candle, so I think in this coming week, we first can look at the sell. But if it fails, you know, we adjust our position, because the market tells us what levels are interesting. On the daily, you see a bit of a shoulder and a head and a shoulder, as I said. Possibly an opportunity to sell. Let's get in the fibs. Look for sells. See, it rejected the 50. Now it's around to 38 again. Lines crossed a bit, not convinced yet on this daily. But then again, we can look for an area of 1160, 1161. Coming into this area, previous highs. Let's make it a bit, let's zoom to the 8 hour. I'm in 24 minutes, so I get 6 minutes or so left. See this drop, measurement here, completed. So on the 8 hours it's ranging. on the larger scales we look for that sell, so keep an eye on the levels 1260 and the one to the downside I just told you. On the 2 hours is a bit detailed maybe, like pairs on oil, gold and S&P. I tend to use 8 hours or sometimes 4 preferably, but when you're really an intraday scalper you can use up to 15 minutes. So now looking at my statistics here, no, not clear signal. It's at the previous highs, so trade like this, for example, limits above the tops, double rejection at such pivot can be an important sign. This is the 2 hour, just showing you some price action you can get into. 1 hour, you see it becomes more granular. "30 minutes, you get a lot of wicks, you see, so it becomes harder. 15 minutes also wicks. Daily. Let's look at one more thing. This drop, yes, 1175.80, 1180. If it fails here, starts the week and stays below that R2 of the weekly, I'm looking for a sell into 1175. If it closes above, we might see higher prices and I will update you in the webinar. Alright, S&P 500. Weekly. Monthly, it's very high, returned all the way back up with a big reversal candle. Spiked up into resistance, now possibly some rejection, but it comes in very strong. Last week we measured some lines. I'll zoom in. There are 2 lines, one escaping over the other top. As I zoom back in, you really see the band of resistance. So I think for now, unless it closes a week below a candle, and that hasn't been done yet, we can still look for ranging actions and a possible retest here around to 2088. Sorry. The daily. Look for some fips. Completion here. No real good deep retracement, just a really quick one here. And that completes here. So it's almost there and barely touched. So that's interesting. If we say that it touched, we can look at this move. That would explain targets to the upside around 2150. And on the shorter term, we're looking just at this move. So touched here the 2035, possibly into the 2090, with still a swing back up from here. I think if it opens and the pivot resets, this might become the pivot. If it stays above that Monday, we can look for a bounce, I believe, up to 2090 into the resistance monthly area again, and then we'll see from there. If it closed below, we might go turn this swing around a bit into some ranging action like we've seen here. So then we can look at some bigger fips, perhaps targets from the all the way move swing down into the 38, perhaps into some 90-80 levels. But until that price action happens on the short term, I will focus on that area. Here the 8 hour and the 2 hour. So hope that helps. Looking for some support here. If it moves up, that's cool, into monthly resistance. If so, you know your down levels and your higher extension levels here. 22115, 2090, no, 2080, and that is that for S&P 500. And that was it also for me. I hope you liked it, enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a like, a thumbs up, a comment on the video or on my blog, TradeReact.com, New Energy on Twitter, Wilco van Bokstel on LinkedIn. Look at the schedule for New Energy. I'm going to post my free webinars there. And here on the Dukascopy Community. Glad to connect. So, wish you all a very good trading week. Always manage your size and your risk. And I see you next time. Thank you for watching and goodbye.